Monica Maralit, and I head Find Human Resources and PSG Global Solutions, as Richard said. We are a recruiting services company and a recruiting process outsourcer for US-based companies. And I'm so happy for the opportunity to speak today on the positive outlook of our industry. While we have heard and seen that 2020 was probably the worst economic recession in recent history with record job losses, there are some sectors that were able to stay afloat. Other sectors not only survived, but they thrived during the pandemic. And these businesses were both essential and non-essential, but pandemic resilient businesses. Some examples of these are food manufacturing and grocery stores, because we have to eat, telecommunications and broadband services, as many of us move to a work from home setup and continue to work from home today. And even the liquor and tobacco industries increased in profits. Digital platforms for financial services like GCash and PayMaya and online marketplaces and food delivery continue to thrive as well. So even in the US and North America, these are the same sectors that continue to do well. As the US recovers with the rollout of the vaccines across the country, more and more of the country continues to open up and starts to return to some sort of normalcy. This in turn is allowing the BPO sector in the Philippines to pick up as well. And you wouldn't think that recruiting services or recruiting process outsourcing would have been as resilient during the pandemic, given the drop in jobs. But we actually saw this to be the opposite. Fortunately, we saw an uptick in our business by the end of 2020. While jobs overall dropped in 2020, the healthcare sector boomed given the circumstances, and the services that support that industry grew along with it. That included recruiting services. We supported our clients with healthcare workers in different parts of the U.S., such as travel nurses, healthcare facility workers, and workers in testing and vaccination sites for COVID. At the cusp of the pandemic, though, like most companies, we were not expecting to see any improvement in growth for the year. Yet, what we saw was the opposite, and we actually posted revenue growth for 2020. Coming into 2021, we see a continued increase, possibly due to pent-up demand from the previous year. Many companies had held off hiring due to unknowns, but as more and more confidence in the economy started to come back, the demand for workers also increased. And we saw that demand in healthcare as well as IT. So PSG Global Solutions and Find HR is actually poised to grow in 2021 again. We had targeted 20% growth for this year, but our results for the past 4 months of this year have us already trending at 30% revenue growth compared to 2020. As we continue to see this growth, we will continue to grow our employee base towards the second half of last year, and we continue this year to venture our reach outside of the NCR. We are investing beyond Manila to reach top talent in other areas of the Philippines. So prior to the pandemic, we had not set our sights on other areas. But as we try to be more agile, we are more open to trying new areas. And fortunately, Central and Northern Luzon have the right talent and the infrastructure to support our needs. We have already grown our employee base to some parts of Central and Northern Luzon, like Clark, Pampanga, Tarlac, and even Baguio, with positive results. Thus, we will continue to have more opportunities for work from home for these employees. We may also venture into work on site in smaller sites or multiple micro sites across the country as we cluster employees. And we expect to implement a hybrid work model. So this in turn will continue to support the real estate sector. And as we see more BPOs continue to return on site or try a hybrid work model, the real estate sector will also continue to see growth. Both employers and employees have seen benefits from a more flexible work model this past year. And as we continue to experiment and offer these to employees, this opens up more opportunities for new sectors and new businesses to flourish. The pandemic may have slowed down a lot of sectors, and we won't downplay the harm that it really has done to our economy. But the more resilient companies are really the ones that are flexible, that will experiment with new ways of work, and will continue to see that growth. So we will continue to see positive results from the improved economy in the US And that will translate into more opportunities for us here in the Philippines and outside of the NCR. And we'll continue to see growth in the different sectors like BPO and commercial real estate as we continue to find our footing in the new ways of work.